Today I'm going to talk about a short film. It's very strange and scary, but prophetic. Be sure to pay attention to the details. I Pet Goat 2 is referring to the second goat used for the Day of Atonement, known as the scapegoat. The barcode on the goat's forehead has the number 666 under it. The barcode is located where the third eye is, which is the sixth chakra. Also, the 6 spotlights in the background confirm that we are dealing with the third eye chakra. Also, the number 6 represents man because mankind was created on the 6th day. Let's rewind for a second. The electrical fence lets us know that we are dealing with power centers within the body that keep us imprisoned until we learn how to use them for our benefit. The scratched image at the bottom of the box has a military dog that says wolf and looks like a wild wolf. This gives us insight into the personality of the scapegoat. It's untamed and rebellious as it pulls against its handler. Pay attention to this sickle sword. You will see it in the future, and it will give you additional clues about the scapegoat. I have had many dreams and visions interacting with a headless man, and sometimes with a disembodied head. Although the imagery is upsetting, it's all symbolic, and I don't fear it. In the book of Revelation, it talks about a second beast that comes up on the earth that has 2 horns like a lamb, yet speaks like a dragon. He causes everyone to receive a mark on the hand or foreheads. This mark is the 666. Those who do not worship the image of the beast, the 666, would be killed. The seal of 666 represents people who have power, yet choose to put their will above the will of God. And the only way for a person to get this mark off of their forehead is to stop rebelling against God and allow Al Shaddai to lead them, operating from a place of love. Let's play through this again. Who's pulling the strings? We see female hands controlling the situation. There's a bleeding heart ring on her pointer finger, and on the left wedding ring finger, we see the feminine energy of the Kundalini spirit by itself. And so we see that the entity who is pulling the strings is a feminine energy that is dealing with a broken heart. The heartbeat in the background reinforces this idea. If you notice, that snake on a pole looks a lot like a $sign. Jesus said you cannot serve God and Mammon. Mammon is wealth. More specifically, worldly wealth. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. And so worldly wealth isn't a bad thing. It's just you need to make sure that you're good with God first.
Shame on, shame on, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. For me take it for the year, 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 take it for the year,
This ex-president is being labeled a fool. His dunce hat points to where he fits on the evolutionary chain. He is surrounded by violent images and a lot of testosterone. On the far right, we see a black female teacher who is surrounded by hearts. Although they both have leadership roles, these two characters are opposites from each other. We find clues about the meaning and purpose of this video in the middle of the image. Just like this image, the brain has two hemispheres. Each hemisphere plays an important role in the function of our body, and yet they are opposite of one another. The lightning strike in the middle of the brain lets us know that enlightenment comes when both sides are willing to meet in the middle. F equals negative F is referring to the lack of forward motion. It's hard to tell in this image, but there is a power outlet behind the chair. This outlet has no plug-in, it's only the facing. People who are not spiritually evolved have no power. We shouldn't be afraid of the dragon. It represents power and wisdom. Did you notice the hangman spelling game on the chalkboard? Have you figured out what the word is? If you guessed evolution, you are right. The purpose of this video is to warn people to evolve their minds to a higher level of thinking or go extinct. We can find more clues about this hidden message above the chalkboard.
Shame on. Shame on. Shame on you.
I know that he is supposed to be saying, shame on you, but when the two words shame and on are put together, they create a completely different word. Shame on means a relationship between two things, and so shame on you refers to the two hemispheres of your brain. Let's take this to the next level. In this image, it looks like the male government leader is having a bright idea. Above him is an evolution chart that begins with a fish and ends with an enlightened person, which happens in the 7th step. The dunce hat resembles a wizard hat. A shaman can communicate with the spirit world, and so this chart is talking about a person's spiritual evolution. Next to the chart is a doomsday clock that reads 12 o'clock. The message is clear. It's time to evolve or face serious consequences. The war of opposites exists everywhere. It exists in ourselves, our relationships, and even our belief systems. The devil horn hand gestures let us know who's pulling the strings. A female entity who is trying to force humanity to evolve so that her heart won't be broken any longer, and so that she can have her divine masculine counterpart. Now we see a male government leader who is wearing a graduation hat. He winks, letting us know that his one eye is open. Unlike the other male leader, who was hostile, this one is happy. Let's take a moment to examine this image. There are 12 boys who surround a girl. According to the Bible, this symbolizes a nation. Ishmael, Jacob, Esau, and others all had 12 sons and a daughter. Even Jesus had 12 male disciples and Mary. If we look at the details of some of the boys, we will recognize the nation that these students represent. I'd like to thank Noor al-Din, Gamer3, for posting a video identifying the presidents. This is JFK, who was shot in the head. This is George Bush Sr. and Jr. This is Barack Obama, the only president whose face is colored black. And this is Trump, with his famous hand gestures. And so the nation that these 13 students represent is the United States, which is learning how to evolve its thinking. Now, let's take this analysis to the next level. Who does the United States represent? In the background, we see an Easter bunny, and the boys who surround the girl all have egg-shaped heads. And so, the United States represents the female fertility goddess. This goddess goes by many names. The name connected with Easter is Ishtar, which means star. In the Bible, the name of Queen Esther also means star. The golden circle around the girl is a clue about an even deeper meaning. I had to do a Google search on this, but a golden egg represents non-duality. Also, it represents life, death, and rebirth. And so to exit and graduate this class, you must die to yourself and be born again. Do you see the barbed wire that the boys are tangled in? This represents bondage because they're undeveloped. Why do you suppose the rabbit on the wall is enlightened at the same time as the young girl? The rabbit ears represent her TV antennas so that she can receive spiritual messages, which are also her alien ears. Or, because she is a teacher's pet, they are her pet goat horns, because she represents one of the atonement sacrifices. A doe is a female rabbit, and it's a female goat. Also, it's another name for money. Remember, in the book of Revelation, the number 666 represents the image of a beast who is man. This man is not one man, but each of us who worship ourselves above God. People who do not worship the image of the beast or their own will died to themselves. This is why we see the young girl die. The apple that rolls across the floor and splits in two represents her brain, which has two hemispheres. She dies of herself. However, the two hemispheres of her brain connect as she has a spiritual awakening or rebirth, which is represented by the lotus flower. This connectivity represents non-duality as the logical and the creative sides of the brain connect. LCO2 is liquid carbon dioxide. Liquid carbon dioxide is used to freeze things. On the female side of the classroom, there are a bunch of hearts, but on the male side, there are snowflakes. This is letting us know that men tend to have frozen hearts. The book of Matthew talks about this when the Pharisee asked Jesus if it was lawful to put away a wife for every cause. And he answered and said, "Have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Therefore they are not two any longer, but one flesh. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder." But they said to Jesus, "Then why did Moses command to give a writing of divorcement and put her away?" And he responded to them, saying, "Because of the hardness of your hearts, Moses allowed you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not meant to be." When Eve ate from the forbidden fruit, she wasn't put away. The Almighty commanded Adam to love her, and he commanded Eve to submit to her husband. The wide eyes and bead of water in this image is not caused by fear and sweat. They represent his eyes being open and the fluid that is secreted from the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Barack is known for helping the LGBT community. His agenda is supposed to symbolize the balancing of male and female energy within a person. Each of us have traces of the divine male and female within us, and so, in a way, we are all transgender. Sometimes, when awakening to this truth, a person can have gender identity issues. The goal is to find balance within yourself. When I was awakening to this truth, God had to remind me that I am a woman, and so we should show patience and understanding to those who are confused. Let's take another look at this scene. Once again, we see a 12 o'clock. This is referring to the doomsday clock, which represents the destruction of humanity by nuclear war. In the classroom, the 12 o'clock was by an enlightened individual who was in the 7th step of the evolutionary chart. We are a microcosm of the macrocosm. Is the world on the verge of World War III? Yes. But the only war we should really concern ourselves about is the one going on within ourselves. If enough of us can find peace within ourselves, then the entire world will become peaceful. The graffiti on the wall says Psalms 23. It says, "Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake." And what is his name? Yahweh, which means he exists. "Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever." This passage is letting us know that even though things may seem very scary, we should always put our trust in the Most High, because He exists, and He is in control of everything. The graffiti has letters that look like water, and a 7-pointed lightning bolt that travels in the midst of it. This represents the 7 energy centers that are found along our spine and travels within the cerebral spinal fluid. The spine is the rod, the staff of God, who shepherds us. The United States flag has 50 stars and 13 stripes. The 13 stripes have blown away. The girl surrounded by 12 boys in the classroom who passed away represents many things, and one of those things is the United States of America. What remains is 7 stripes and 50 stars. The number 7 represents completion. Also, there are 7 continents on our planet, and the number 50 represents Jubilee. In the Bible, a Jubilee is a reset, and so the new flag represents a global reset. A lot of people are afraid of this, but it's biblical. So trust in God and know that everything is going to be okay. Do you see how the Twin Towers resemble a male and female, a bridegroom and bride? Their destruction represents the end of duality. In real life, the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center was replaced by the One World Trade Center. This singular building looks like a combination of darkness and light. It symbolizes the end of duality and the rebirth of non-duality, not on the microcosm, but a larger scale. Take a good look at this character. The glowing star on its chest gives us a clue that it's the fertility goddess Ishtar, which means star. Remember, this goddess has a link to the holiday Easter and Queen Esther, who had her enemy hung. Also, she is symbolized by Lady Liberty, who is a free woman that doesn't answer to anyone. Similar to the female student who passed away, this goddess is deeply grieved and becomes one with the water. The name Mary means bitter water, and so this goddess also has a link to Mary. Now that we've seen the divine feminine, let's take a look at the divine masculine. Try not to get hung up on people. The United States and the Western Hemisphere represents the feminine side of our world. The Eastern countries represent the masculine side of our world. On 9/11, the masculine side attacked the feminine side. The war of the sexes exists within our brain, within our marriage, within our world, and beyond. What is the war over? Power. This power comes in the form of oil. In the world, it's crude oil. In our bodies, it's the Christ oil that is secreted from the pineal gland. Let's take another look at this. This is the development of a real person. The close-up of this guy's eye is inviting us to take a closer look at him. Written under his eye are the letters AB and then CHAO. I typed this into Google and found some interesting information. It's linked to a motto that is used by the 33-degree Masons. The motto is Ordo e Chao, order from chaos. This motto can be found on the grand decorations of the Order of the Sovereign Grand Inspectors General, and so it was no coincidence that this creepy-looking creature is inspecting the development of the 13th egghead. This 13th egghead represents the returning Christ. The Divine Mother weeps for her injured son and awaits his resurrection, his enlightenment. This world has been very hard on him, and his love is dead. He has become as cold-hearted as a robot. The tattoo on this man's left arm gives us a clue who he is. When we zoom in, we can see that the word Yarito is clearly written on the larger heart. In Spanish, Yarito means little vessel. In German, it means goatskin shoes. And so, this is the little vessel of the scapegoat from the beginning of the video, the one that had the shadow of a sickle sword around its neck. We can see that there is a second heart on this tattoo. Although we cannot see the complete spelling of the word on it, we can see that its first couple letters are the same as Yarito, and so this heart represents a second little vessel who wears goatskin shoes. Remember, I told you that in the book of Leviticus, there are 2 goats who are used for the atonement of sin. This man is carrying his iron rod, but he is not wielding his sword, which is the sword of the Spirit. The green slime that he is drowning in represents the heart chakra. In this scene, he is the scapegoat who has the number 666 on his forehead. The number 666 represents putting his will above God's will. In order to get the 666 off of his forehead, he must die to himself, yield to the will of God, and put his heart in the right place. Here we see his divine counterpart, who has already died of herself, who is balanced, and who is approaching him with a peace sign. This girl has balanced feminine and masculine energy. Although she wants peace, she is told that the war of the sexes between them must continue. Meanwhile, the Christ within the little vessel continues to develop as he awakens. He finally breaks through the 4th chakra, and his heart's energy center is activated, and he is electrified by the fire of the Holy Spirit. Kali, the bride, the divine feminine, senses the awakening of her divine counterpart. Jesus is a fisherman. The fish that are jumping into his boat are angelfish. They have a balance of black and white. Let's shine some light on the situation. Now, let's take a look at the second little vessel. This old woman has yielded to the will of God and has balanced masculine and feminine energy. She represents the spirit of Mary, who is both the Virgin Mother and the defiled whore. She is not one or the other. She is both. she is balanced. Her whoredom is from sharing secret knowledge, as she nurses many children. She has been a prisoner, counting the days for the return of her divine masculine counterpart. She is the woman of Revelation 12, who gives birth to the man-child. Kali has destroyed many men in search for the perfect vessel for her divine counterpart. As soon as he empties his mind of his own will and yields to the will of God, he will become the head of a new church as we enter the season of the oil. Kali, the bride, had to play many roles and fight many battles to help her divine counterpart mature, as she played her role in ushering in the millennial reign. The matrix that we live in has been upgraded. The algorithms have changed. The penalties for disobedience against God have become more severe, and the rewards of being obedient to God lead to freedom. Karma's a bitch, but those who know how to use it can benefit. The key is to learn how to love and not judge one another. You might be wondering, how does she know all this stuff? My name means the Spirit of Mary. I've been living through this soap opera, and I can bear witness to its truth. Are you going to judge me? My name is Wendy, and we're all living in the winds of change.